can we go back up to the battle in Iwo and talk about the battle and your injury and how you got wounded and
Well, as I say, I was in the assault wave again, and we were told that Iwo was a very small island. We studied it. We knew its potential was only 600 miles off of Japan's mainland, and that they would probably fiercely defend it, and just go in and knock the crap out of them, basically. And then it was kind of a rude awakening to the soil, like I told you, it's like nothing you ever saw in your life. Jet black, smelled terrible. It was sulfur. It was a sulfur island, and very hard to get your footing. You couldn't get your footing, and they shelled it. They had a very nice system for as far as they was concerned. Horrible for us, but they had picture a checkerboard the way it seems in mine. The black spaces and the red spaces are a checkerboard. Well, with their artillery and their naval guns, shore battery guns, from the mountainous areas and the high ground, they had zeroed out this pattern on the shore. So they would start firing down the island. They let us get on the beach without any. It was so unusual because every other beach they met us on the beach. They didn't meet us on the beach this time. They started firing down when we got on the beach, firing from where we were down to the water on the black squares. Then they would come back the red squares. So if you were lucky enough to be in the red squares on the way down and the black squares on the way back and vice versa, you survived. If you weren't, of course nobody knew the way the grids were laid out, and they just covered it like a blanket, down with a heavy fire and back with a heavy fire. Down with a heavy fire and back with a heavy fire, and then they messed it up. Then they had flying ash cans that they catapulted through the air, 50-gallon drums full of all kinds of metal, ball bearings, sharp pieces of metal, was anti-personnel, and you could see it going in or in over your head. And then when they get so many feet off the ground, they'd detonate them and they'd explode and they'd send down this a shower of shrapnel and everything. It was as close to hell as you ever want to get. And but there I say, you just couldn't turn around and go back to the ship. You had your objectives, and my objectives in my outfit was the airport, the first airport. And so we just fought our way up, just not knowing what we were shooting at, because if we'd see a blast in up ahead of us, or a machine gun fire, or something you could detect it, you'd fire at it, but you didn't see anybody. It was just like a robot island. No human beings, but a lot of fire coming at you. So I got up to my objective, and was the airport, and then all of a sudden a huge shell came in, and I had 9 men in my squad. I lost 5 of them. I've lost 7 of them, blown to bits. Just arms and legs. I was lying in that stuff on my left side, and practically my whole left side leg was covered in that stuff. You put your elbow in, you'd sink way down, and my right side was exposed. So I caught the shrapnel all up my whole right side.
From that shell that hit.
Yeah, one shell hit us, and then Bowers, my first gunner, he was on his right side in this hole, and naturally he got hit on the left side. All the rest of them were just, like I said, the other 7 were just, you couldn't recognize them. They took the blunt of it. They took the whole shot, really. We just got the side fragments blast. And then, about 5 hours later, Corpsman came in and looked over the ledge and said, "Oh, you guys need some help?" And I said, "Yeah." So he came in, and I had done the best I could to bear. We carried that, remember I said that belt, in that belt is a pack of sulfamilamide and bandages and I don't know what the hell else. And I took my K-bar knife and I cut my leggings and my pants up, and of course I was all blood all over, so I looked to see where the biggest wound was. It was on my lower leg. And I poured sulfamilamide on that, and Bowers did the same, and we just sat there and we couldn't move. We were both incapacitated, and just talked.
In a lot of pain?
Yeah, but that's the least of your worries. Yeah. Pain, you can dismiss the pain, and you just wonder when the next one's coming and you're going to be gone. So about 5 hours later, a Corpsman came in, and he worked on both of us. Did a better job than we did, naturally. Then he gave us a shot of morphine and a bottle of brandy, and he said, "I'll notify the litter bearers." Now, in the Marine Corps, the band is the litter bearers in action. Every division and regiment has a band, and their function is during peacetime play music, marches, drill field, but in battle they're the litter bearers. And he wrote a card on me, you know, first aid administered such and such a dollar, brandy and morphine administered. And he did the same for Bowers. And he said, "I'll notify any litter bearers that I run into." So off he went. So Ted Ketchum, my sergeant, we were ready to move up again. And he said, "Okay, Killilea, let's go." He said, "We're moving up." And I can't tell you what I told him. But I said, "No way, I'm not moving an inch." So he got a little closer over the hole, and he said, "You either move or I'll shoot you right there." And I said, "You crazy bastard, here, take a better look." And he got over the shell hole better, and he could see what was going on. And he said, "Oh, okay, see you later." And off he went. And then the litter bearers came, I don't know what time, but they came and they got Bowers. And I was senior man, so I told him to take him first. I never saw him again. I understand he died of fright, probably because of what happened on the way to the beach. When they laid down a barrage, the litter bearers, they had to save their own lives. You were already half shot, so they all, 4 of them, they would dive for cover when the barrages started in. And they would dive for cover to save their lives, which is normal. And you're laying up there, hey, there's a pretty good fortune line going on, you know. And then they'd pick you up again, and they'd get you down to the shore. And then, but they were constantly beating up the equipment on the shore. I don't know if you see any pictures of Iwo, with all the stuff, the tanks, the boats, and everything. As they went back and forth with this heavy stuff. So anyway, they got me back. They got me on a hospital ship, and I stayed there. And then I was evacuated to Guam. Then from Guam, I was evacuated to Honolulu. And from Honolulu, I was taken back to San Francisco. And then from San Francisco back to Chelsea Naval Hospital. I spent about 6 months before I got home.